Well, John Lee Hooker has a song called They Call Me Mr. Lucky. Now, that's all a matter of perspective, I suppose, because someone could actually call me lucky. They could be like, well, you survived a spinal tumor, spinal reconstruction, CRPS, um, getting washed down river when you can't swim, a mile into the wilderness and in a swollen river on the New York State border. You survived all these things, and you've had your heart shocked 6 times, and you've never had a stroke, and all that seems pretty lucky. But you really kind of got to be a half glass full kind of guy to think that way. Okay? You really kind of do. But, anyways, I was responding to Mr. Mason, and I'm like, man, this writing stuff's just too hard. So I'll just talk for a while. And let's see. Since I went to the hospital on last Thursday and I got cardioverted Friday morning, I had my first heart palpitation type deal, or like your heart going out of rhythm. Oh, about 40 minutes ago. That's like the first real thing where I was like, oh, something's going on in there. And this is because of more just ridiculous luck that I have. I've been trying to get one of these bad boys over here that will run around the house and doesn't have a $40 speedometer for like ever. So I have this, real bad bout of AFib. They keep me in the hospital. I didn't really speak about the covert experience. I think that's the name of the drug. But I got put through like a bunch of pointless drug therapy. It's like shocking. My heart works every time. Why are you pumping me full of drugs? Like, why do I have to be full of like fentanyl? Why are you putting me on something called Soldalaw? It's like every other time that I had my heart shocked, it worked. I was fine, and I felt better in a couple of days. All right. Now this time it's my fault. Okay. Um, I figured I could get away with it, so I was like, I'm not gonna be here that much longer, so I'm hanging around with a guy with PTSD and a smoking Jones, and I'm a smoking addict. So I've been smoking I gotta been smoking for probably 2 months. I mean, I said a month before, but if you go back and look at the videos, it's probably 2 months where I've been smoking. Like, somebody would, like, my niece would pop over here like once a week or something. I smoke maybe 2 or 3 cigarettes a week. I mean, I've been like smoking like every day except for like one day that I can remember. And not huge amounts of cigarettes, but I can't be fucking with any cigarettes, at all. So I'm hanging around with this guy to where, he's threatening me. He's crazy. He doesn't make no damn sense at all, you know. I'm assuming you're a follower of mine, so you know the can story. You know the fact that he had to wrench his arm and ragdoll him and, let him know who's boss. The fact that he's threatening me physically all the time. That he actually punched a hole through a card table. And then he's got an alcoholic problem and he's just, he's emotionally disturbed. So one of the first things I did when I got home is I was like, he bangs on my door. Like, I got home on a Sunday. on Monday early, he's banging the fuck out of my door. And then he's banging on the neighbor's door, and I can hear him saying, "Is Steve home yet?" And, because he don't have my number. And he's like, "Can you text him, please, and ask him if he's home?" So I get a text saying, "Are you home?" So I'm like, man, fuck this. I get $20. I go to the window, and I said, "Man, don't be knocking on my door anymore like that." He says, "I just wanted to tell you that I was going to Cleveland on Monday, because he's going to go and supposedly he's supposed to, he was using my phone to set the shit up the day before I went into the hospital, but he's going to go into alcohol rehab on Monday." So, and I said, "Listen, I almost died, okay? So don't be knocking on my door like that, you know." No comment about, like, really, you almost died, because he's from the same family of narcissistic sociopaths that are all about themselves and have no empathy for other human beings. So it's like a little bit before noon, and I'm like, "Here's $20. This will pay for the poker chips that you won off of me, and it'll pay for all them cans back there, and that in case that motherfucker comes back and picks up the rest of them, since he made a big deal of me paying him 2 to 3 times more for his cans. So I stole his cans by paying him double or triple for them. Who the fuck knows what's going on there?" So and he's like, "This is too much money." And I said, "I don't care." I'm like, "Just don't knock on my door anymore." I say, "When I'm ready to see you, I'll come out and see you, but don't knock on my door." Real blunt about it. He's just shaking his head woefully as he cracks a beer, like roughly 5 minutes before noon, which I don't know if it's his first beer of the day, but he's going to tell me that he's going into alcohol rehab, but he's cracking a beer while he's shaking his head woefully at my strange behavior. You know, Not asking me, like, what happened? You know, you almost died, really? You know, and not asking me anything. Apparently, he just wanted to. He said that's what he said. He just wanted to knock on the door to tell me that he was going to Cleveland on Monday. 'Cause he had talked about that before, going to Cleveland to try to get a hold of his drinking. And I'm not quite right at the moment. You know, I tried to do like housework today. I actually put a basket on a walker and tried to do some housework because, man, I don't even know what the hell I said in this video so far. But the scooter that I've been trying to get since December, it's like I'm home for like 2 days. I'm totally wiped out, just worried about my heart. And I get a call from Miller saying my scooter's approved. And as soon as they get it, they'll send somebody out here with a technician to set it up in my house and show me how to use it and stuff. My house is a total fucking disaster. There's no room to set up anything. So I'm like, I call up my brother, who probably gave me the bed bugs in the first place, but it doesn't matter because nobody's allowed to come in here anyway because I don't have an anti-bed bug certificate. So if you reinfest me with bed bugs, what the fuck ever. I'm supposed to be calling like CareSource, and they will get rid of the bed bugs for me according to these aid workers who aren't allowed to come in here. But this is all just a bunch of madness anyway. Who can follow any of it? I can't follow it. It's my fucking life and I can't follow it. So, I'm finally getting the scooter that I need when I can barely get out of bed, you know. And I'm like, okay, I just roll with it. I'm like, okay, but I'm like, I should get the house cleaned up enough to where they got to get it in your apartment. They got to build it, construct it, whatever, put it together, assemble it, whatever you want to call it, and show you how to use it and stuff. So I got to have a clean floor area at least. So I call my brother, and he's like, I didn't know you were in a hospital, and it's like, I didn't say, "Yeah, well, there's a reason for that. You're not helpful in those situations because I'm not an asshole." Um, but he was like really concerned. I'm like, well, I'll pay you. You can come over and, help me clean up a little bit because they're going to bring that scooter over here at some point. And I got like some fishing equipment you can have because I don't really fish anymore. And he's been fishing all the time, including a really sweet net. And so he said, you don't got to pay me. I would do that for free. And I'm like, nah, the Bible says a worker is worth his wages, or, some such thing. And, anyways, so then I call up my brother in law, who's the guy with the bed bugs, who's the guy that gave him a ride over here. And I'm like, look, man, um, it's Friday, sometime, during the weekend. I was hoping to get that you can give my brother a ride over here. And he's like, yeah, that's going to be a problem. I'm like, why? And he's like, I got some kind of issue going on with the car. I'm like, eh, yeah, call me Mr. Lucky. And I'm like, okay. And then uh, my niece was over here yesterday because I owed her some money. And so I paid her the money, and she had just gone to the dentist and stuff. And they pulled two teeth and she had like a whole thing going on. And her car ends up dying too. So, I don't know how else to get my brother over here. And I cut ties with the, my foster brother, and I'm not going back on that. You know, seriously, I will die first. It might come to that. You know, I'm a sick fuck. I mean, I will die to spite him, and he won't even know what the hell's going on. It's like, who am I actually spiting here? But I don't care about dying. It would just be a relief at this point. Like when I came out of the bathroom at the hospital with a 220 pulse and yelled at all them nurses. It's like, I'm going to be dead. I'm going to be out of this mess and not have to deal with this shit anymore. And you people are the people that should care because you're going to be fired and you have to find jobs. You're the ones that are going to get in trouble over me dying. I'm just going to be dead. I don't give a fuck. I was like, this is with a 220 pulse. At that point, when I came out angry like that, I don't know what my pulse was, but it was 220 before I come out angry. So, I don't know how fast your heart can beat until you die, but I wouldn't be surprised if my pulse was like 250. Because believe me, they weren't looking at no monitors. They were looking at this 6 foot motherfucker in their faces, yelling at him. Trust me. And one of them wouldn't even look at me. She was just like looking away, like, don't say that. And I'm like, why? Or why not say it? You should be worried about yourself, you know. And then, I was like I said, I got a temper. And so, anyways, this is how this is working out. It's like I got a brother that's willing to help me, but he's got like issues, and he's got, he don't drive. He's like 3 years younger than me or whatever. He don't drive, and you know, he's got to have somebody drive him over here. But the people that can drive him over here that he knows, their cars are broke down. So I put a basket on a walker, and I'm walking around the house like cleaning up, and I guess I did too much, and I had like a heart palpitation. So I guess I gotta take it easy now. I took a blood pressure pill and a Valium, and I took my blood thinner like I was supposed to, or whatever. But I mean, I was pretty tired. I mean, if AFib, you don't like bounce back from it. It's like you're that's what they explained to me about the blood thinners. You always got to have blood thinners like after you have AFib because your heart is like it's not. It just doesn't bounce back. It takes a while. You just don't come hopping and skipping out of the emergency room. Even if they cardiovert you in the emergency room. So, but no, this time it's my fault because what am I doing smoking? What am I doing like just because I'm a compassionate idiot who was raised with a Christian ethic? Why am I even bothering with this sociopathic motherfucker? You know, dude's 34 years old. Like, what's the odds of him changing? What's the odds of him getting sober even? You know, um, I'm not going to be living here. He doesn't have my number, and he's not getting my number. I mean, so really, why was I hanging around him at all, except for just being nice? You know, he's really not that bad of a guy when he's not threatening you or talking crazy or taking everything you say so fucking seriously. It's like you want to tell him, like, it's no wonder you got no friends, dude. It's because everything is like fucking life and death with you. Like, he came and pounded on my door at like 4 o'clock in the morning because he was all excited because he had a good night. You know, he had a night where everything worked out for him. And he's like, I saw your light on. I knew you was awake. And I said, that light don't mean shit, man. I keep that light on and I watch stuff and I pass out. I happen to be awake. And then I go out and I sit and I talk to him, and he's all like hyped up. And I was like, man, what the hell? I'm kind of like half joking, half serious, but I'm like, you been putting stuff up your nose or something like that? I don't know the motherfucker. And he went through cocaine rehab or something like that. And he's like super insulted over that. And I said, why don't you just say like I just drank a bunch of coffee? Because that's all he did was drank a bunch of coffee, and he was all hyper, and he wanted to share he wanted to watch the sunrise with somebody. That's all. So I'm like, what the fuck am I even doing out here? You know, this guy don't give a. You know what? He gets drunk and he's like, I don't give a fuck about you. You know what I mean? It's like I know his history. I know his family. I know his mother. I know his grandmother. I know his uncle. I know, he's part of the family. He's a second cousin. But, so I got like sympathy for him and pity for him and stuff. And like, I was raised with that stupid Christian ethic that probably the only thing that keeps me from being a monster. So I shouldn't call it stupid because then my dad would be my only influence. And his solution, his solution to problems. So, but it's a dumb ethic in certain circumstances. It just doesn't. It's masochistic, you know. And I know I got a smoking addiction, and the lady upstairs smokes. He smokes, and he's got the guy in the wheelchair was real close to quitting smoking because he smokes weed, and then he likes to. His problem was he was like me. He liked to smoke weed, and then he liked to smoke a cigarette. I like to smoke cigars, but he liked to smoke a cigarette after he smoked weed. So that's the only time he was having problems. But now, like, also a selfish dude. He's like using me as a go-between now because he said he will do a deal with Chris because they use me as a go-between because he doesn't want Chris to have his number, to be bothering him all the time for weed, and you don't trust him. So like Chris will ask me to text him to ask him to trade cigarettes for weed. So he's got him smoking again, and woke up his tobacco demon, woke up my tobacco demon, which I swear to God, man, it's like, I felt bad. Like I said a couple times before, you see somebody with no electricity sitting on the porch like a homeless person, just with a phone, and a little phone at that, watching the phone. And then when it dies, they gotta walk to an Arby's to charge it up, and then come back and watch the phone, and that's their entertainment. And they got no electricity; they're using candles and shit up there. So, you know, I put a court out there for him. I was like, I'll put a court out there for him, and I started being nice to him, because it's fucking pathetic, It's fucking pathetic. But that's sometimes there are reasons why people are homeless or why people are in situations like that. And it has a lot to do with them and the way they behave and their personalities, and they're just getting what they deserve. All right? They're just, maybe I am even interfering with his bottoming out process. I don't fucking know. All I know is I was smoking and I ended up with AFib arrhythmia. And I tell the guy I almost died, and he's not interested in that. He's just shaking his head woefully, and I just throw a 20 out, and I was like, I don't care about no money. Just don't knock on my fucking door. So when my aid worker knocked on my door, like at 10 o'clock when I was expecting there at 10:30, or I was expecting there at 11:30, I was like, who the fuck is knocking at my door? And she was like, it's, I think I already said her name on here anyway, but I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting you because I called your agency and they said you were coming at 11:30, and she said, no, it's always 10 on Thursdays. And so, I have I told him when I was like saying don't knock on my door and giving him the $20 or whatever to do whatever he wanted to do with, to make up for stealing his cans by giving him money for them. Um, I don't really care. I'm just trying to stay alive and get the fuck out of here. I just want to die somewhere else. That's all, basically. I don't want to die in this fucking rat trap. Yeah, I had to die and rot in this fucking bed, and then, uh, like, somehow figure out a way to, like, um, get a letter, like, route it somewhere so it gets slowly to the landlord. So the landlord has to come in here and see my rotted, bloated corpse on this bed. But no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to die here. I got stuff I want to do. I want to live. I didn't go through all that shit in the hospital to just die. And plus, I got responsibilities, because my brother, he doesn't handle death well. Okay? He just had a cat that's like 16, 18 years old, basically a Methuselah of a cat. Cats do not live to be 18 years old or whatever, generally speaking. I mean, the cat was ready to go, you know. And he didn't grieve too hard for that cat, but he grieved for that cat, It's like he don't do well with death, and that's animals that are ancient, you know. It don't matter how old they are. He's got like tons of guilt, like he should do this, he should do that, or he should have done that. So if when I die, if I was to die as some sort of, no matter how I'm going to die, he's going to feel guilty about it. But if I opt out early, which I'm not gonna lie, it crossed my mind a couple of times. Um, if I had a gun, I wouldn't be here right now. It's crossed my mind a couple of times, but I don't like the whole idea of taking pills. You can screw that up. You can't screw up the bang bang. You can't screw that up. But you people are probably like countermanding that, but no, I have enough knowledge of anatomy that you can't screw that up. Um, the same way that I know to twist the guy's arm and dislocate his elbow with a elbow smash to the arm. It's just things that you know, things that you learn. But anyways, no, I don't want any of that to happen. I want to get out of here and try to get out of here in one piece, you know. And yesterday was a fucked up day because I'm just supposed to be resting and relaxing. My aid worker knocks on my door early. I got to deal with that shit, and then I got to confront the war veteran guy. I got um, to put like I gotta like rearrange a bunch of shit and put all these Meals on Wheels stuff. And these ordinarily not a big deal. After you have like a major heart deal, getting up and standing is a big deal. Okay, so what I did today was kind of dumb, but I didn't see no other choice because I gotta have at least a space, even if I can't sweep the floor or whatever. I gotta have a space for them to set up the scooter. Suppose the scooter comes on Monday and they got no place to put it. After I've been waiting for it, the first time I asked my doctor was last December for it, and I struggled so hard to get it, you know. And you know, that'd be a hell of a note if like I can't get no help cleaning up. And I'm not asking, the war vets guy wants to make some extra money, you know, for and more like bong uh cleaning my house, all right? But I don't want no ties with the dude, The dude ain't right, okay? He just ain't right. I mean, uh, so no. If if I have to go out, if I have to get killed by housework, I will get killed by having to do housework because I can't have anybody in here to do the housework because I don't have a bug certificate because I got sprayed by a fucking exterminator. So I can't get a certificate off of this guy because I'm not having a freaking guy who sprayed me with bug spray and acted like an asshole like that guy did come back in here, and that's my landlord's guy. I ain't dealing with my landlord anymore. Okay, I choose death. Okay, I choose death over dealing with my landlord over any uh, you know reconciliation with any of these people, any reconciliation with the boat guy and that family. Uh, I choose death over any more bonding interaction with the war vet. I choose death. Okay, if if um if you believe in God, if God wants me to live, he'll figure out some way to keep me alive and keep me from my own stupidity. Okay, he'll be like, tomorrow, just like wheel the scooter in here, the broken little one, and put it next to the big one. Just get it out of the living room. Just like do a little bit. Don't do it all what you did today, and maybe you won't have heart palpitations. Maybe you won't end up back in the hospital. All right, just chill out. You know. It- but yeah, yeah. What can I say? You can't go around having like heart. 2013. I moved in here in 2010 or thereabouts. Gerald bought the building within a year and a half, 2 years. I don't know when he bought the fucking building. Maybe 2012. Okay. I had my first bout of arrhythmia 2013 in 10 years. And I think I've had my heart shocked 5 times since then. So that's like 5 times in 6 years that I've had my heart shocked. Um, Coincidence? I don't think so. I think this is just a very unsafe environment. I have a sociopathic landlord, and he just rents to anybody. He just don't care. I mean, he don't care. I told him what this guy was like um, before we stopped with the before we became mortal enemies, I told him exactly. I was like, look, this guy was in a war. He got PTSD. He's got a really bad childhood. He got emotional problems and stuff like that. It's like, I stayed away from the criminal history. Maybe I didn't go into that because that's uh, not right in my book. Paint somebody like that, but I gave him I was like, this is who you're dealing with, and okay, now we're gonna cross into some odd territory here because this guy talks a lot of stuff, but some of the stuff I I don't know if I want to go there, but he talks some stuff. Okay, like burning down places type of stuff. He talks some stuff, and you don't know how much of it is true or how much of it is not true. Okay, and all I know is like his own like family's like afraid of him. He's a little tiny dude. They're like afraid of him, and I was advised to just lock the door against him. And I'm like, it's too late for that, you know. And so this genius here, he signs him to a year lease. He don't got no job, and he still don't got no job. But the VA's taking care of him. I don't know if the VA's foot the bill for the rent, or he worked something out with Gerald, or what the deal is, or what the fuck is going on with him. That's another thing that I don't like about the guy is like the guy talks and tells my business to everybody, right? Okay, somebody asked me one question about whether he had. I thought you said he worked, and I said I did say he worked, but he got fired. And then like I laughed about it like a week later, like I said before, that he signed him to a lease. And he didn't even know he had a job, and then Roy narks him out to the landlord and says, why are you fucking giving a guy a lease for a year? Don't have a job, I think I was sitting on the porch with Chris, and he was like, somebody around here got a big mouth, and I said, that would be me. I said I didn't think Roy would do that, but that came from me, and then I asked his girlfriend something about, "Yeah, I heard you said I got a big mouth." She's like, yeah, she's sitting in my house. I did say that. And I said, we're not in the mafia, right? I already said that shit before. This ain't no Omerta Code of Silence thing, Cosa Nostra we got going. And I was never allowed to explain the fact that I did not volunteer the information that he didn't have a job. Like the guy asked me a direct question. It's like, that's why I told him, I'm not lying for you. I'm not lying for you. You know, the guy asked me a direct question. I known him uh, for like 9 years. I've known you for like a year and a half. Why in the fuck should I be lying for you? You know. So yeah, this place is a fucking nightmare. Um, like I was writing Mason there. I was like, as soon as I found out, it took me like forever to see through because I didn't know the law, and so it took me forever to see. And he's so good, guileless face. He's such a good con man. To see what my landlord actually is. Dude don't swear, acts like a devout Christian, has like pat answers for like, well, I just can't accuse people of things if I don't have proof because that will leave me legally liable. Translation: hey man, that crack money spends good. That's the translation of that. When I was complaining about the crack thing going down here, because I had this stupid idea, and I've said this before, that the landlord is actually responsible for crime in his building. He is not. It's a legal matter. But he doesn't tell me to call the police. He didn't tell me, like, well, you're seeing people like smoke crack outside your building, you should call the police. Why? Crack money spend good. So, I was like an idiot, you know. I even had a cop. My best friend's a cop. I could have asked him about that shit. And the landlord. He's a cop and a landlord. This guy is such a good con man. I didn't even consult my friend about it, right? But when the meth crisis hit of last summer, that is when I should have been like, that's when I knew the guy was a piece of shit. Was when he was having his dad pick through like junky garbage, and I had to protect his dad. Um, you know, it's like the guy's a piece of shit. I was like that is when I should have moved, but I was in the process of withdrawing. I'm sorry about my hoarse voice. Um, so my head wasn't on screwed on straight because you know, I went from I went all the way down to like 7 milligrams of Xanax in June, and that's when the meth crisis blew up. And then July I went up a little bit, and then I went up a little bit in August, and I think at the end of August, it was either at the end of August or at the end of September when the squatters got kicked out. But I had a whole thing with the death threats and all that nonsense going on. And I didn't really have anybody from the outside who was not going through benzo withdrawal who was sane and would be like, you need to get the fuck out of there. It's like that's what you need to do. So I'm just kind of like I'm riding this shit out, you know. Like this is my home. They ain't driving me out of here. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but that's kind of like was my attitude. It's like no, it was like a war, you know. It was like a war, You ain't threatening my ass out of here. I'm gonna watch you leave. You ain't gonna watch me leave. No, I should have got the fuck out of here, you know. As soon as the meth thing opened up, and then the landlord didn't care. He's trying, and I've told the stories before, but quickly this sums it up. This Clint guy he seems like an okay guy. You know his last name? No. Says he's got a job. Oh yeah? Where does he work? I don't know. Don't give a fuck because the building's being paid for by a government agency, by your tax dollars. So he don't care. You don't even know the guy's last name or if he has a job. Here's his job, meth kingpin. That was his fucking job. Because when the police came and raided, I didn't even know he was up there for 2 days. And then I heard movement, and then he laid lower than low. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he was like meditating, breathing slowly. They kept the lights out and shit at night. I mean, they were laying low. There were both of them were up there, and I'm talking about Jessica because she was the mainstay through the whole process. She's the person that stole my charger. That's one of the first people I met. She stole a fucking $2.50 phone charger instead of just giving it back to me. And anyways, so my head wasn't screwed on straight. I didn't have nobody from the outside, and like I'm not the kind of person that say help, help, I'm drowning here. I'm just not that guy. And I had one sane and sober friend, and he was going through stuff with his mom. His mom was sick, and then they were deciding whether to put her in a nursing home. He had his own problems. You know, and so I wasn't gonna be like, hey, can you help me out? Can you help me get out of this fucking hellhole before it kills me? And this is like a year later. This is a year later. I've been here. I should have been out of here a year ago. I knew what my landlord was a year ago. I knew what he was before I got sprayed in the face with poison. I knew he was a piece of shit. I mean, sociopath, just complete. Yeah, he cares about that money, and he don't. He's really good at pretending to have normal human emotions, but he don't got them. Yeah, he don't got them. Um, so, anyways, I don't know if I missed anything, but it's just easier to talk than type. That's about like 40 minutes. Um, no, this the timing. I thought I could ride it out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I'm set up. I'm gonna go see about moving out of here. Uh, I got all the evidence I need as far as this being an unsafe environment. They funded meth head people, and criminals and breaking and entering artists. I'm a citizen. I got no record. I got health problems. They'll fund me, and the guy even helped me fill out the paper. The psychiatric nurse to see the caseworker about the ICANN program. So that was set up for yesterday, the 19th. But I had to wipe everything off the schedule because I had that little bit itty bitty heart thing, going on. So I wipe out the dental appointment, wipe out the that much needed dental appointment. I had to wipe out the um, um, seeing how to get the fuck out of here thing. And yeah, I don't know how that happened where or what I think what happened to my money is like I just um, got a little self-destructive and just you hear them fireworks. This is Maslin, one of the oldest football cities. That means Maslin. Jesus, that just means Maslin just scored a touchdown. Okay, because they play right down the road, and Maslin McKinley is like, I think it's the oldest football rivalry in the nation. I think that's why the Canton Football Hall of Fame is in Canton, is because the Canton McKinley Bulldogs and the Maslin Tigers go back a billion years and played 150 years ago or some shit like that. But anyways, that's what all that was. It's Friday night. It's high school football night. It's a big deal around here. So, anyways, that interrupted me. But no, I was starting to feel pretty good. Like I said, I had like a billion drugs in my system. I had like cortisone, covert, Valium, blood pressure pills, um, um, fentanyl mixed with something else, and then whatever they knocked me out with, and then Sodalol, and then Zyrtex. I mean, and I'm trying to just take the blood thinner, which is, I think it's called Zyrtex. No, it's called Xarelto. Blood thinner. That's very necessary because I don't want to spend more time in the hospital where they can try more experiments on me, like Dr. Frankenstein's. I'm already Frankenstein's monster. You don't have to fucking. I've already had the bolts in my head and shit. You don't have to fucking do any more experiments on me. So I got the Xarelto. I'm sticking to the Xarelto, the blood pressure medication, metoprolol, and the Valium, and I'm taking aspirin and ibuprofen for headaches. And I've been laying off of the um, what's Neurontin, gabapentin, whatever the fuck it is. Um, just as a matter of course, I just been putting up with the pain. Um, but yeah, today I did too much and I had a heart palpitation. I think that's why, is because like I said, if I had I could show you it, but I'll show you it some other time, I guess. It's just a basket like that's. I took black tape and taped to the bar of a walker. It's fucking pathetic. And I'm going around picking up garbage and various things and putting whatever will fit in the basket. And then, like my doctor was saying, like that shit about well, why don't you make your house less cluttered? And it's like, yeah, yeah, okay, that makes lots of sense, dude. All right, whatever. Okay, maybe you can afford a maid or whatever, but you know I got to get my brother to come over here. And I got to pay him with like fishing equipment and maybe a few dollars if I have a few dollars to spare. Um, so yeah, it's just a lot of stuff like you know weighing down on a person when you got yeah. I can't even go into all my issues like because a lot of it's like it's not that it's too personal. It's like it involves other people. I don't really give a fuck what you think about me or what. I would tell you anything. I don't care, but you know other people do care, and I have to respect their wishes. But I got the CRPS. I got the fucked up knee. I got a lesion that's still in the process of healing. That's part of the CRPS. I got the heart thing, which is a big, big deal. Man, like I said, protect your heart, man. For God's sakes, man. Don't be stupid. Protect your heart any way you can. Because once you have a heart problem, there ain't no going back from it, you know. There, you can come back from it physically, but it's always there. You know, you're always thinking of, you're gonna always be thinking about it. If especially if you got any kind of anxiety at all, you're always going to be thinking about it because you're going to be like, okay, is that like a undigested piece of potato, Mr. Scrooge, or is that the Grinch that stole my heart? You know, the Grinch heart is my Grinch heart like. Okay, that was a convoluted, messed up bunch of metaphors that were not seasonal at all since it's only September. But anyways, uh, I'm trying. Okay, I'm still trying under these circumstances, which are absolutely fucking ridiculous. Um, Ridiculously difficult things, you know. It's like I still kind of feel like the universe is like Godzilla and I'm Tokyo. And there's just something about Tokyo that pisses Godzilla off. You know, he just feels the need to fuck Tokyo up. You know, it's like so I'm Tokyo, and the universe is Godzilla, man. It's like it's determined to crush me underneath its foot. I mean, I don't understand why, you know, things line up this way. I really wasn't expecting to have to do housework today. My hand's okay. I thought I felt my hand shaking there for a second. Um, I mean, I don't know if that shows up. It probably don't because of the lighting. I got a terrific bruise, man. It's like all the way up here. They were noticing it in the hospital. I said, "Oh, no, it's not that bad. It only shows up in certain lighting." But that's where I had that strawberry part that I smacked that one time to demonstrate. You know, I'd laugh at him in the hospital and shit, like I said, because they'd be like, "Sorry, sorry, sorry, sorry," when they were having trouble like poking a needle in me, and I'm like, you see this right here? You see this right here? You know what that is? No. I said, I had a screw screwed in my head while I was awake. Just poke away and just dispense with the sorry, sorry, sorries. You don't gotta be sorry about nothing. And after a while, I told him, you know, just use the same vein. You can probably see that right there, that dark spot. I'm like, just quit screwing around trying to find new veins. You just use the same vein because they're always drawing blood, and, you know, messing with your blood and shit. You know, it's like that's the easiest one. I'm like, just stop trying to find new ones. Just draw that one. You know, and I got marks and shit all over me and stuff. And yeah, it's just a lot of stuff. You know, it doesn't make it easy when you're dealing with people that really are self-centered, man. It's like this guy, like this Roy guy. Okay, so he's texting me because he feels bad because I told Chris not to knock on my door, so he can't knock on my door to use his phone to ask him for weed. So he knocks on Roy's door to ask for weed. Roy got rude with him or something, so Roy feels bad. So Roy texts me and says, "If you see Chris, tell him that I'll do the deal for cigarettes or whatever that he wanted earlier. I just was a little bit edgy or whatever." It's like, dudes, I almost just died. Leave me out of your fucking petty bullshit. You know, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why do I even have to say this shit? Do you think like I just took a pretend, that was just like a fun ambulance ride and like, I just stayed in the hospital because, I like hospitals? You think I'm lying to you when I said that, almost died? I mean, I'm dealing with people like that. It's just, fuck that, you know. And this lady upstairs, I guess her dog is starting to bark. She's got a Shar and a pit bull mix. It likes me, of course, because I know dogs and I know how to act around dogs. Other people don't. If you don't know how to act around dogs, okay, here's a quick primer on it. Treat a dog like you like. Put your dog in the place of you and uh, dealing with a stranger. Do you want a stranger like reaching behind you where you can't see their hand? Do you want a stranger getting right up in your face and saying, "Hey, what's up?" You're like, "Oh, who the fuck are you?" That's not how you act around dogs. You just treat a dog like it's a stranger. Because it is a stranger, you dumbass. So you hold your hand out and like you're going to shake hands. But, dogs don't really shake hands, generally speaking, unless they're trained to do that. So they go up and they like check you out. They smell your hands. And if they lick your hand, then what do you do next? You don't reach behind where their heads where you can't see their hands. You put your hands underneath their chin so they can still see your hands, and they're like, "That feels pretty good. I like that." And then if they tolerate that, you work your way around slowly, and then you can put your hand where they don't see it once you develop a level of trust. It's fucking simple, But people always do the same shit, and it always like it shows a lack of empathy of not putting yourself in the dog's place. And like if you go up to a strange dog and you like immediately reach for the back of the head of a dog, it's like some there might be like 1 out of 10 dogs that'll put up with that, but this dog's like, "Get the fuck away from me," and starts growling and shit. And it's got Shar and Pit Bull, two fighting breeds in it. It's going to be 50 to 60 pounds in a year. And you're not going to want to do that because it might take a finger or two. Okay, you might not be able to play the piano no more. Um, so yeah, it's a real simple thing with the dogs. Just treat a dog like it's a stranger, and just think of yourself like around a stranger. You know, like I don't want no strange guy coming up and like reaching his hand around where I can't see it. Okay, you know, I don't want no stranger right up in my face. I don't want no stranger reaching his hands out toward me. As a matter of fact, I would grab his fucking arm and put him in an arm bar immediately if a stranger like reached out toward me. A dog will just bite you or just back the fuck up and growl at you, but I would, yeah, you don't do that. You just don't do that. So, anyways, it had nothing to do with nothing. Um, I got a little bit of indigestion, so I guess I'm gonna go drink some milk. It's like I don't feel bad. Um, you know, I felt really bad the first few days in the hospital because I had that whole like 8 different drugs all fighting inside me, and you always feel bad after you have the AFib, you're going to feel weak and you're going to feel sick, and then you got to build your strength back up. Then you got to find out how much balls you have, or ovaries, or whatever, if you want to be gender neutral, and and say, okay, here I'm going to raise my heart rate deliberately, even though this might backfire on me. That's hard to do. Like I said, getting on a treadmill for 10 minutes after you've gone into arrhythmia, and you're raising your heart rate deliberately because you have to work out your heart. You just have to find a pace. You have to do it at a gradual pace, is all. And that takes some stones to do. Okay, that takes a little bravery, because like, suppose that's what I'm thinking. It's like I'm just laying here minding my own damn business, and I had a whole heart palpitation like 45 minutes before I started this video. And suppose I have that heart palpitation while I'm on a treadmill, or while I'm walking around the house, or whatever, while I got my heart already elevated. There's a lot more chance that it's going to stay out of rhythm. So it takes stones to work your heart out after something like that. But, I'm going to continue. There's reasons, I guess, for me to stay alive, even though I am a miserable specimen, that's for sure. But I have a couple of things I want to do. Like I said, my brother doesn't handle death very well. And I told him, you just haven't dealt with your own mortality yet. And he was like, yeah, I have. Uh, no, no, you haven't. You ain't come close. You ain't come close to dying. You know, death as an idea is one thing. Death, when you feel it in your gut, and you sleeping with that Grim Reaper, and he's got a sickle around your neck like a woman's arms every night, that's a whole nother deal. And a lot of people talk big about that shit, but um, all the stuff I'm telling you is just fucking true. It's like when I had the 220 pulse, and I came out yelling at people. Like, I'm going to be dead. I'm going to be out of this mess. I'm raising. There was 220 before I lost my temper. So God only knows what my heart rate was. You know. And the nurses were like fucking freaked out. So they weren't looking at nothing but me, because they were like, this guy's a fucking maniac. They were looking at me like waiting for me to be violent or whatever. They were just keeping their eyes on me. They weren't looking at no monitors or no shit like that. As a matter of fact, I think one of them just left the room. There was three of them. The technician that took me downstairs, she stayed. The machine was all over the place. I know that, because they hooked me up to a portable EKG, and it was like 142, and then it'd go 178. That's what it does. It's like your pulse rate goes all over the place when you're in AFib. Even when it's low, it goes all over the place. Even 81, 98 the next second, um, 85. It's like all over the place. When you have a good, steady, what they call a sinus rhythm, or a normal rhythm to your heart, um, there's very little variance in the beats per minute if you're not moving around. You know, like I'll crane my neck and look back at the machine, and that might raise my pulse rate like a degree or two when I'm in a normal sinus rhythm. But what the hell, man? I sure can't talk. That's about an hour. Um, but yeah, I figured I had to do something with the war vet guy. Do you know? Just he's the I'm the cause. Okay, ultimately I'm the cause. I didn't have to have anything to do with that guy at all. Um, I can blame it on the cat who fucked up the alarm clock, but I didn't have to go out for seconds. You know, because as you probably remember, the cat knocked over my alarm clock. I had an appointment. I knew the guy had some kind of weird, crazy Cold War beef against me. I want to go out there and explain myself because I thought my ride was coming in 10 minutes. I go out an hour and 10 minutes earlier, so we have an extended conversation. I find out a situation that he doesn't have any power and stuff. And, I could be like, don't have any power. Tough luck, dude. And just go about looking out for number one. That's what I told him. Is like, I'm going to look out for number one because I got to, and you should do the same thing when you're trying to get sober, man. I love you, man. Or what I say, I don't know. I think I said I love you something. You don't like to be called dude, so I don't know if I called him dude or not, but he actually gets offended when people call him dude. I don't know why. I said, man, people from my generation, that was just a thing we say. He's like, don't call me dude. My name is Chris, Christopher. Don't call me dude. I'm like, okay, man. Can I call you man? He said, yeah, you call me man. I am a man. Like that. I'm like, all right. I shook his hand. I said, I love you, man. And take care of yourself. And, he just shook his head at the confusingness of it all. And he was going to try to give me that 20 back, but he didn't really put a whole lot of effort into it. I just threw a 20 out there in the chair next to him, and I said, look, man, this will pay for the cans in the back and the thing. And he's like, no, that's overkill. That's too much, man. Take it back. But, he never picked it up. So I don't think he had any intention of giving it back. He's like, yeah, come back with you with that. You know, yeah. He's the guy that broke my $20 Browns mug that I thought was so cool. And I'll get you back for that. And for some reason, he keeps it out there on a ledge to punish himself. I don't know. I think that's why he was upset that I picked up the cans, because he wants to look at them cans and feel self-loathing. Like he needs a reminder that he drinks too much or something. I don't know, man. I don't know what goes on in there. He was like, don't score another touchdown. Good Lord, they're beating the crap out of somebody. The Maslin Tigers. Are you done yet with the fucking fireworks? Maybe the game's over. I don't know what that means. I don't care. I didn't move here for the Maslin Tigers. I moved here to be abused by my family. That lives a quarter of a mile away and used like a Kleenex and thrown away. That's basically what I moved here for, and to find out, you know, how much the universe loves me by giving me the greatest landlord in the world, and yeah, and just the cast of characters that have moved into this building, and whew, man, yeah. So, anyways, I don't know. I don't have a closer. I think this is over an hour, so hopefully it was entertaining. You got to hear some fireworks, but who cares? This is a bunch of noise. I think you got to hear them. Um, I don't like fire. I don't even like to look at fireworks, let alone hear them. So I don't even go out and look at fireworks. Is a waste of money to me. The only cool thing I ever saw on a fireworks display is these people were lived out in the country, and I think it was when my niece got back from overseas as a contractor, and she had a bunch of money, so she had like buku fireworks, like big fireworks, but they didn't have professionals like setting them off and shit. Big mistake, because you gotta have them stands and stuff, right? So big old rocket, like big fucking rocket, man. Somebody lights it, and when they light it, they bump it, right? It hits the ground, it goes flying into a crowd of people. This guy, it's headed straight for this guy's goodies, man. He jumps up and the thing flies through the wickets, man, through his legs, and uh, misses his two favorite friends, man, by less than 6 inches. And it's an indelible image in my mind is that rocket flying between the two guys. The guy just jumped up in the air and spread his legs open like that, and it said whoosh, through the legs. And you know what he said after that? He said, "I'm going home." You know why he probably said he's going home? Because I need to change my pants. I'm going home. I didn't notice if he took a tarp out of the back of his truck and put it on the seat or not, but that was he about got blasted, man. Right, it would have been right in the area, right in the fun zone, with big old fucking rocket, man. And yeah, it exploded off in the woods. You know how they shoot off in the air and shit, and then they explode, whatever. It was in the rocketing part of the procedure, but you could see the trail of you know, whatever sparks or stuff coming out of it. I had a really good view of it. I wasn't part of the crowd, but yeah, that guy was the only guy in the crowd that was in jeopardy. That's the only time I've ever really enjoyed fireworks. Sorry, I just don't enjoy fireworks. I think it's a waste of money. Yeah, it's like that guy should get like an honorary Johnny Knoxville or Steve O pin for a day or something, man. Because that was pretty awesome. I gotta admit. But he had incentive to do that. Michael Jordan, two-legged. That's for damn sure, man. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna try to take it easier tomorrow. Maybe no heart palpitations, and try to be sensible about this stuff, and leave you be. Yeah, this is just kind of a tacked on goodbye because after I said I was gonna leave you be, I got caught in some kind of weird philosophical quagmire about whether the truth or a lie is better for a person. And I laid out scenarios, and it just kind of went on and on and on, and went nowhere. It was torturesome to listen to. So believe me, by cutting that out, I'm doing you a favor. And to make up for the tacked on goodbye, I'm going to tack a picture on the end of this. And you want to talk about a Mona Lisa smile? This picture has Sophia Loren and Jane Mansfield in it. And you know how they'd say, like, penny for your thoughts? I might pay $10 to know what, if anything, is going on in Sophia Loren's mind in this picture. So, goodbye. Enjoy the photo.